Standing mobilisation. Come up to standing. Let's start with the feet hip distance apart. Good morning to anyone who's just joined. Squeeze your glutes, tilt the pelvis, roll the shoulders back and down. And just give yourself a moment to root down through the feet, pull up through the kneecaps into the thighs, and lengthen the top of the head to the ceiling with the chin slightly tucked in. Let's roll the shoulders forwards, up, and then externally rotate the arms, draw the shoulders back and down. Flexion extension of the spine. So parallel arms come up either side of the body. Look up, stretch up, lengthen, then swan dive the arms down, chin to chest. We're rolling down through the spine, support the backs of the legs and hang. Shake out the head, pause here for a moment, and then soften the knees and see if you can rebuild the spine from the base up. Right away, let's have a real close, careful awareness of how we flex and extend the spine. We often get caught in fixed patterns. Let's carry on the same pattern, parallel arms up, swan diving the arms down, of flexing using one particular chunk of the spine mainly. And because we've more readily got movement in the lower spine, we tend to just plonk down there. See if you can actually articulate through the spine, feeling where you're getting flexion the whole way down. It's really difficult to think about moving one vertebra at a time. But actually, if we take time to do that, we'll end up with more flexibility, more overall movement. As you roll up through the spine, let's feel that stacking. One on top of the other. At the top, rolling the shoulders back and down, and the next time will be the last. Breathe in and reach up, spread the fingers. Press into the floor to stretch up to the ceiling, and then let's swan dive the arms down, chin to chest. And again, it's rolling down through the spine, from the top down, and we'll pause in that forward fold. So knees can be soft, definitely off lock. And then let's take it in turns to bend one knee at a time. So we're sinking into one hip from that folded position, pausing, and then switching. Straighten the leg, bend the other knee, and sink into the hip of the straightish leg. Both can be a little bit bent. Fabulous. Rolling up through the spine with soft knees, one vertebra at a time, and at the top, roll the shoulders back and down. I'll be coming back to this idea of how we flex and extend the spine when we take a locus later on. All right, let's take a twist for the spine, so feet back to hip distance apart. Hold the shoulders, rolling the shoulders back and down. Deep breath in. As we breathe out, come into a chair pose where we can still see the toes, and then tap opposite elbow to knee and see if we can open the top shoulder. Breathe in, standing tall, squeeze the glutes, re-establish that openness across the chest. As we breathe out, we're sitting back into the heels, so working the legs, but then it's an openness across the chest as we take a twist. Elbow towards the knee, it doesn't matter if it doesn't get there, it's just about waking up the spine in different planes of movement. Couple more rounds each side. Try to keep the jaw soft, head heavy, and feel the pressure of the feet, the outline of the feet in the floor, so that as we stand up, we're using so many more muscles in the body. Last time each side. Then we'll take a side to side movement, that lateral flexion of the spine. The final missing link of mobilizing the spine. Last time. Over to your left. Brilliant. Shrug out the arms with soft knees, and let's take the legs out wide. Normal side bend, and then we'll take into a skater. Gliding to one side, keeping that long line of the spine. Squeeze the glutes, grip the floor with the feet, and back up. Deep breath in, using the out breath, so we're starting to draw the core muscles in, holding the body in place rather than collapsing to the side. Press into the floor, back up, so we're really strengthening through the legs. Let's have one more each side, and then we'll take that skater, one knee bends. Same side to side movement, pressing, lengthening, Last time over to the left. Chest stays open wide, glutes stay switched on, and let's add a bend to the right knee, inner thigh stretch. Breathe in center and the other side. Keep this going, no overstraining the inner thigh. Can we add on a push for the opposite arm and then pulling action back in. Reach, press, and then pull back up to standing, using the feet, the power of the feet into the floor. We can lean and draw back, make a fist. So even though we're not using gym equipment, we're getting the same action, the same strength, that pull, push, so that we're strengthening the chest and the back through that pull, push movement with the arms. Last time each side, hopefully you're feeling already a little bit warmer, a bit more limbered up. And then last one here, bend your left knee, lift the right toes, and the other side. So it takes it more into the hamstrings. Last bit of warm up, we'll take a pyramid, and then we're into sun salutations based on series 2, Surya Namaskara B. Fabulous. Kick back a couple of times, and then we'll step your right foot forward. 2-3 feet distance in between the feet, toes, kneecaps, hips pointing forwards. Now tilt the pelvis under. We're looking for a hip flexor stretch on this left side. So keeping the tailbone down towards the floor, we can rise up through the back heel and find more of a pelvic tilt to work deeper into the hip flexors, crown of the head up to the ceiling. If you have your balance, let's lift the arms, otherwise keep the hands on the hips to help stabilize. Reaching up, clasping the opposite hand and stretch, keeping that pelvic tilt, lengthening through the body, pressing down through both feet. A little bit of a back bend, but not a back bend thinking about leaning back, thinking about lengthening up towards the ceiling and back, finding length in the spine, and then lowering the arms. Clasp the hands behind the back, roll the shoulders back and down. And now that single fist that we create with the hands, drawing down the back legs, shoulders back and down. Now with the chin towards the chest, small movement side to side, easing out the neck. Now for the other side, soften the knees and let's switch over. Start with feet pointing forwards, kneecaps forwards, find our balance, shoulders back and down, and find that pelvic tilt. We can rise up through the back heel, keeping everything square to the front, and breathe. Keep the tilt, keep the stretch in the hip flex, and then lengthening up through the spine. If you have your balance, let's reach up and stretch, lengthening, keep the squeeze between the glutes. Breathing deeply, so we're lifting the ribs out of the pelvis and almost feel like you're lifting the pelvis out of the thigh bones, lengthening through the body. And then let's clasp behind the back and lower the heel and roll the shoulders back and down. We can take the head side to side, take it nice and slowly so that we don't lose our balance. Fabulous. Soften the knees, shrug out the shoulders, and let's come to the front of your space, your mats. So I think series 2, we've already warmed up the muscles we need for our chair pose. Feet hip distance apart or big toes together if you prefer. Let's squeeze the glutes, tilt the pelvis, start with the shoulders back and down, palms facing forward, really broad across the collarbone. And let's breathe in, reaching the arms overhead. Arms are slightly in front of the body. Now, as you squeeze the glutes, sit back in the heels, and we're looking for length. And let's just pause here, making sure we can see the toes. Okay, from here, taking a moment just to let those ribs quieten down together and back. Tummy bottom back to the spine, reaching long. If the palms don't meet, then keep them wide, even a wide V. As long as we're getting this sense of length from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. Breathing deeply, we're getting ready to lunge back, knee lunge with the right leg. Swan dive the arms down, find the floor, step your right foot far back and mirroring you. Lower the knee and release the toes. Now, either with left hand on the left knee, lift the chest, or if you're comfortable, take the arms into a full crescent. Again, try to avoid the lower back arching and think more about lengthening up. Squeeze the glutes. Press the back foot into the floor. And then lower the arms. Knee lunge or high plank. Knee plank or high plank. Pause here for a moment. Now, we're going to take a modified knee side plank. So your right knee is going to come to the floor, knee under the hip, and we're spinning your back foot to the floor, and we're turning the chest to the left wall. Now find your balance. It may even be tricky here, so feel free to just stay here with your left hand on the left hip, otherwise extend it up to the ceiling. We're looking for the shoulder, stacking your right shoulder over the right wrist, and then open across the chest, stretching into the arm off. Now see if you can press the right shin and right foot into the floor and flatten the left foot to the floor. Lengthen through that extended leg, squeezing the glutes. Pause here for one more moment just to feel length through the crown of the head to the heel on the floor. You're doing well. Let's take a down dog. Lower the arm if it's lifted and step back and take a down dog. Well done. Pedal it through from one foot to the other. So for this round, we're leading with the right leg. I'm mirroring you. When you're ready, warrior two. We're stepping the right foot forwards. Bend the knee, look at the hands and step your right foot forwards. Lower your left foot so we have that heel to arch alignment. And let's spin the arms back. We're in a warrior two. Arms parallel to the floor. Tilt the pelvis. Now let's pause. So again, feel that quieting of ribs. It's coming together. Tummy bottom back to the spine. Tailbone down to the floor. Front inner thigh getting a bit of work, turning up to the ceiling. Shoulders back and down. Now let's feel that sort of tug of war, arms stretching in two directions. But at the same time, then find your center of gravity. So find where the base of the spine, all the way up into the crown of the head, finding a perfectly vertical line. Pause for a moment. Now, this front knee, we're aiming to get it over the front ankle, keeping the pelvic tilt. Reverse warrior. Back hand on the back leg. Flip the front palm so the legs stay where they are. We're lengthening through these front right fingertips all the way up and over. Squeeze the glutes. You can use your back hand to support the lower back and take a back bend, upper body only, so we keep the front knee lunging forwards. Take the gaze wherever your head's comfortable. Definitely no strain in the neck. So many of the yoga postures we are encouraged to look up and just straining the neck. Let the head hang, be comfortable in the neck. There's enough tension in the neck. We can work mobility of the neck without straining. One more breath here and then into an extended side angle. Again, legs stay the same. It's your right forearm helping to keep the front knee open, and let's extend the left arm up and over the ear. Same thing, you can let the head dangle, but let's not collapse into this lower shoulder. Feel length from the top fingertips down, that extended leg behind you. Length, be strong and long. And that's the end of this round. Hands to the floor, come onto the ball of the back foot and step forwards. Nose on the knees, straightening up the legs, rolling up through the spine, open the chest wide. Take a big stretch, hands meet and heart center. Same thing to the left. So in front of your space, breathe in, open the chest, stretch overhead, legs strong. Breathing out, hands stay together or slightly parted, knees come forwards, can see the toes. Long spine to bottom, not sticking out, slightly tucked, can see my toes. Shoulders back and down. So if this means having the hands on the hips, this is fine. But like you would in a cobra or locust, roll the shoulders back so we have some strength in the upper back. At the same time, front ribs coming together so the upper abdominals are helping to hold us in place. Pause for a moment. We're getting ready to step your left foot back into that knee lunge. When you're ready, hands to the floor, step the left leg far back, lower the knee, and you come into your crescent with both arms, or support yourself with the arms. We're still looking to develop some release in the hip and lengthen the spine. Stretching, releasing, hands to the floor into a plank. So it's either your high plank or with the knees down. But let's pause here to find that strength in every muscle in the body. So the fingertips are pressing down the underside knuckles, the heels of the hands, shoulders are down away from the ears. The chest is pulling through the shoulders. So you're trying to look over the front edge of your mat. The heels reaching the back edge of the mat. Kneecaps up into the thighs, squeezing the glutes, tilting the tailbone. Now, it's the left knee which comes into that bent position, and the right heel at the back lowers, and we'll take that modified side plank. Breathing deeply, find your balance. Your top arm can be on with a hand on the hip or extending up. But let's now find a way of not collapsing into that lower shoulder. Reaching the right shoulder up to the ceiling, chest turning out to the side wall, pressing into wherever there's contact with the floor. So the back leg, that right foot, right to the little toe of the right foot, pressing down, squeezing through the glutes, long leg, and then the bent leg, the knee down the shin, right to the top of the foot, pressing down. Find that wider base of balance. And then lower the hand. We're taking a down dog. So step back and again pedal it through and just enjoy that symmetry in the body. Maybe lifting the heels high, shaking out the head. So a quick recap. We'll be coming in a moment forwards with the left leg to a warrior two. We'll be taking a reverse warrior, an extended side angle. And then we'll be moving on. So, mental preparation in place, lift the heels high, bend the knees, look at the hands, it's your left foot stepping forwards. Find that arch to heel alignment as you lower the right foot, and let's spin the arms into that parallel to the floor position. Tilt the pelvis under, shoulders back and down, long line, and then as in a plank, find some strength in the chest and the back. So first of all, squeezing the shoulder blades together, but then drawing the ribs together. Shoulders down, away from the ears so that the lats are engaged. The tilt in the pelvis so that the lower spine is in a more neutral position. And then turning this front inner thigh up to the ceiling. So we've got the knee over the toes. Pause. More because I've been talking. Take a breath. So back hand on the back leg, palm of the front hand up, keeping the knee bent. If anything, you can lunge a little bit further, but avoid the knee collapsing forwards. Taking a reverse warrior. So the back leg straight, same as the first side. Place the head where it's comfortable. If you can let it dangle, do. It can give you a nice neck release. Above all, nice soft jaw. Sometimes just thinking a smile is enough to release out the facial muscles. And we'll pause. So whether the hand, your back hand is on the thigh, your hip, or down on the calf muscle, try to avoid pressing in. Try and use the core muscles to hold you in place. I'm having to correct my knee to keep it pointing forwards. Whatever reminders, keep the knee charging forwards and the inner thigh working. Extended side angle. Left forearm helping to keep the knee open, and let's extend the right arm up and over. Stretching into the fingertips, feeling that yummy stretch across the front of the right hip, and let's find a nice position for the head. Avoiding a collapse here in this front shoulder, long neck. And then using the in-breath, see if you can find space in all the joints. So the feet are pressing down, but we're lengthening through the spine. So there's almost a sense of the pelvis coming out of the femur, the thigh bones, the ribs lifting away from the pelvis, the arm finding space in the shoulder joints. Amazing. Come down to the floor, spin onto the ball of the back foot, and let's come forwards. Nose on the knees. You can hug the knees, forearms around the backs of the knees, and just get a nice release in the back. And then release the arms, roll up through the spine. Open the arms, that reverse swan dive up. Breathe until the hands meet, and breathe out to heart center. Amazing, well done. Shrug out the arms with a bend in the knees. And we're coming down to all fours. So we'll take a moving cat for a change today. So your way, coming down to the mat, all fours, shoulders over wrists, knees, ankles in line with the hips. So as we sit back on the heels, we can find our placement for the hands, elbows on the floor. So keep the elbows bent as you claw into the fingers and draw your chest through the arms up into that cow pose, and then push away from the floor as you take the chin to the chest, round the back, and sit back on the heels. So continuous movement. We've still got the cat-cow, but it's in a moving position where we're adding that push-pull element with the hands. So important to keep that balance in how we use the arms so that we equally strengthen the chest and the upper back. So try to keep your focus on pulling on the hands or pushing into the mat. And again, this can be another way of looking at how we flex and extend the spine. So if we draw the hands into the floor and as if towards the knees, drawing the chest through, we might get a little bit more opening in the chest rather than just sinking the navel to the floor. So just exploring different ways of changing our normal habitual patterns of movement. Amazing. We're taking one balancing stick, so let's, not balancing stick, balancing cat. Start by extending the right leg out, plant the ball of the foot, heel to the back wall. Now strong like a plank, tilt the pelvis and keeping the back leg really strong. Now lift with the toes pointing down. So it's very strong contraction in the lower glutes, upper thigh muscles. If you have your balance and the hips are square, extend the opposite arm. And we're pausing here for a moment. As soon as you feel any arch in the back, place the foot down and retilt the pelvis. Tummy bottom back to the spine, front ribs together, and with a straight, long, strong leg lifting up. You may need to glance back to check that the toes are pointing down to the floor. A last little squeeze and length through the body. And then lower down, other side. Extend the other leg, plant the ball of the foot, shoulders back and down, that front ribs, tummy bottom back to the spine, neutral spine, squeeze the glutes, and like I'm loading bricks onto the leg, slowly lift with the toes pointing down. Feel that weight on the back of the leg, strong through to the heel of the foot, extending your opposite arm if you feel you can. Keep long and strong in the body, ribs together, tummy bottom back to the spine, find length, and then lower down. Fabulous. We're coming on to our bellies. So let's first of all be on our forearms, and we can rest the head down. Let's take a moment to lengthen through the legs, squeeze the glutes, and try and float the feet, the legs off the floor, even the knees. If you feel that your lower back is taking much of the weight here, this is where I was mentioning before about changing just a small detail of how we do this. If you're itching to go straight into your locust, interlace the fingers and we can take a lift. Now, if you fancy exploring a slightly different way of looking at this, think about coming up into your locust without squeezing the glutes. So as we squeeze the glutes, see how the bum cheeks lift up and we get a more pronounced arch in the back. So as soon as we think about internally rotating from the hips, so feeling like a spreading, softening here, we can get more of a sense of lengthening through the legs without straining the lower back. So if you're still taking your locust lifts, well done and keep with it. Otherwise, with me, if you want to try this slightly different angle of looking at your locust lift, we're going to keep the hands by the shoulders, elbows into the waist, and have a go at lengthening through 10 toes to the wall behind. Really lengthen through the legs, so the legs do lift from the floor right up to the thighs, but we're not arching the back. There is some engagement in the glutes, but we don't have that squeeze of the bottom cheeks together. So keep lengthening through the little toes right to the big toes, and lengthening, trying to touch the wall behind you. If you've managed this, we can clasp the hands behind the back and add on the upper body so the forehead's floating from the floor. We're rolling the shoulders away from the floor, but try to keep that spread of weight from the front of one hip to the other. Try to avoid drawing the bottom cheeks together and find a length in the legs from across all 10 toes. We're here just for another breath. Try to focus on this different approach to spine extension, where we're focusing on lengthening the legs and taking that lift into the upper body without straining the lower back. We're lengthening, we're going for length over height. You've done it. Take a child pose, hands under the shoulders and sit back. Well done. So you may find that because we took less of a lower back bend, that you actually need slightly less of a recovery release in the lower back here. So if that's you, then that's just something else you can take to any of the yoga classes you do to just change the emphasis and avoid straining the lower back. Roll up through the spine. We're coming up to a Russian twist, very near the end of the class. Feet hip distance apart. Knees a good fist distance, stack the forearms. Tilt the pelvis, long spine, long neck. Let's try to avoid rounding. Don't worry if you don't touch the floor. We're swiveling, elbow towards the floor. Breathe in center, breathe out other side. 10 sets. So that's one. We're on the second set. Twist and twist. There's two. So if we think about drawing a big arc over the body, it can help us to keep the shoulders down away from the ears. And if we keep the front ribs together, tummy bottom back to the spine, and we take this cradling movement side to side, trying to keep the spine and neck long as possible. So chin slightly in towards the neck. Option to take a Ganesh mudra, the grip of the fingers. If that helps you to keep a sense of engagement between the shoulder blades, as well as keeping that broad smile across the chest, go for that. So we're slowing down, ready to close the practice so we can start to move with the breath, slowing things down, no straining. We've done about 5 sets, so if you have a grasp between the fingers, consider changing the grip. The other hand on top. Here, a nice gentle movement of the head. So we can gently move side to side, right into the head. A wide open across the chest. Strengthening the arms with this grip, shoulders back and down. We're on the last couple. You're nearly ready for a full body stretch. Wonderful. Roll back on the mat, take the arms overhead, stretch into the fingers, extend through the legs. Enjoy Last of all, we're just going to take the figure four stretch when you're ready. Right ankle to left thigh. Flex the foot, knee out wide. Press the knee out wide with the heel of the hand into the thigh. And then draw through. A little bit of a sway, side to side. Should reveal a nice position for a stretch in the hip of the bent top leg. Chin into the chest. Close the eyes. This is your very last stretch. Pausing. Find heaviness in the body. Soften down. Last breath on this side, and then we'll switch. Give yourself time to release the knee before setting up on the other side. Foot flex, knee out wide. Hand into the top of the thigh. Threading through and drawing in. Gentle rock, tipping side to side. Smiling, closing the eyes, just letting heaviness come into the body. Last 2 breaths here before you release the legs. And then to come out, you can roll onto one side. And slowly come up to sitting. You've done it.